This is the new 2026 LEGO Modular, and it is the Shopping Street releasing January 1st. How did I get this early? Well, I'm fortunate the LEGO Group gifted this copy early for review. So what are we doing? Let's get this cracked open and start building and give my full thoughts on this new LEGO set. Judging from the box art, we have the Modular Buildings collection in the top right logo, black box art style, and it looks like we have a beautiful shopping street with a building built at a very crazy angle. It is labeled as LEGO Icons, comes with 3,456 pieces, which is kind of high for a LEGO modular building, and official set number 11371. You may notice a lot of modulars in the background as we have almost every single one of them, so we'll do a nice compare analysis as we progress through today's video. We have some dimensions. As always, there's a base plate of these, so 10 inches by 10 inches is what that stands at. And then tall height of 14 inches. Back of the box has it next to the 2025 Tudor Corner, and then as well as the 2023 Natural History Museum. We do get a total of 3 floors plus a roof, which I am buzzing to crack this open and get on building. Obviously, we have a connection point there for more modular buildings, a music store. Looks like we have an apartment building in there. We got some floral sections. We have an alleyway with a rat drinking water. And then lastly, a wood shop, which I feel like for the first time in a modular building I've ever seen. Now, over the years since my collection of building LEGO modulars, we started off at $180, and now we've seen them go to $200, $230, and I'm actually curious because I don't even know the price tag of this set at the time of recording. But let's experience this LEGO set together and get the full unboxing experience. I really like the new box art style here, and I'm pretty sure this is still just in Europe, as I don't think the US boxes are like that, but they're able to basically preserve the boxes, just like you just seen me cut those tabs of stickers, and then I can lay the box on the side, go ahead and give it an open, and this box will have all of the pieces nicely in a box like that. So let's see how many total bags we get, as I'm already seeing up to number 24. Now, there's over 3,500 pieces in this LEGO set, and that's actually a lot for a LEGO modular building. We are getting bags numbered 1 all the way through 24. Not only that, we have our instruction booklet as well as our base plate. Now, kind of strange, I feel like other LEGO modular buildings gave us a base plate in just relatively inside the box. This one comes wrapped in this extra cardboard paper, and it is a light green base plate. Now for the instruction booklet, I'm gonna be honest, I'm hoping there is no sticker sheets here, but let's give it an open and get that full experience. All right, as we open that, this is a really thick instruction booklet, but man, I don't see any stickers, so I feel like we're already off to a great start. So we're bag 3 in, and this is what I miss about building LEGO modular buildings, that first glorious floor. It's also really interesting to see as we build this and constructed some of the building techniques, including all of the spilled water here with the broken and busted pipes, this very interesting angle at about a 45-degree angle for this building here, and of course the staircase inside offering a different building experience because these stairs are built on their sides using those headlight pieces, and again offering a different sights to detail.
I've built a lot of LEGO modulars in my day. This is the most interesting floor design I've ever seen, but I guess jumping ship here and playing around with it earlier. I mean, that's kind of cool that it's all connected. I don't know why I had an expectation that it would be individualized, like each building, and then connected, but literally it's all one piece, which is pretty neat.
As I have completed this build, it's time to give you my full review, thoughts and opinions, because man does this build pack a punch. However, I wouldn't say it's a perfect LEGO set, so let's take a dive in. So we're gonna get a total of 7 LEGO minifigures included in this set and some animals. Starting from left to right, we have a marching band minifigure who I love the top hat in purple. I think this is a good looking minifigure. Why did this one and the boy next to him have ice cream and cupcakes? It does not make a lot of sense to me. I think kind of a missed opportunity not to give them some like really rocking equipment that they could have purchased from Brickley's, which is the store here that says musical equipment. Again, it is a shopping center, or better yet, give these minifigures a shopping bag or something like that with prints. I don't know, it just didn't make a lot of sense there because at the end of the day, this is the shopping street and we don't have any minifigures that are holding like shopping bags or anything like that. And I think that's kind of just a miss. But the next minifigure here is our woodworker worker. She actually has a store in the top section here, which we'll take a look at in just a little bit. And I think for the most part, she just kind of fits in, right? It's a typical minifigure that I think attire-wise looks like she would fit inside that store. The next up, we have the Brickley's store owner or store employee in his blue torso. Again, I think this minifigure just makes sense. I think it's a really good fig for what you get inside the Brickley's store here. So he definitely is handing out some change, like someone was just making a purchase. Next up, we have a repairman, and I think, again, this is a minifigure that probably makes sense for the shopping center, like having repairs always being needed and maintenance. As someone who owns buildings like this, I think it's definitely a minifigure that is very much nicely that they included. The next two minifigures here, I feel like are just the two standard minifigs kind of throw in. There is nothing special to them. This character here is featuring, different equipment she's holding, but not a shopping bag or anything like that. And I think there's kind of missed opportunity, and same with these guys. So I was call these two figs like maybe just two customers, shopping around in the shopping streets, or probably a missed opportunity to give them a buggy or, a bag like with Lego print or something on that. And I think that would have just took these minifigs to probably like the next level. Aside from that, we do get this printed bird here that perches on top of the fire hydrant. I really like that fig. I think it looks pretty fantastic. Also, in the fountain here in the middle, we have an all white cat. And I think, again, it's just a statue cat, but again, I feel like it's a nice little additional detail. On the top here, on the section here above our second floor, which we'll look at in a little bit, above the woodmaker's room, she clearly cooked up a birdhouse, which I thought was a really fun and interesting build. And we have a different color bird there in kind of a gray with black accents, and it's all printed. And I thought that was, again, a nice feature. And then I think the only other technical minifig you can kind of count would be a rat, and it's out of the back. The entire storyline of this set was going into a rat messing with the plumbing line, and that's why we have a repairman and all of that kind of stuff. So I don't know how a rat would do such significant damage, but I'm sure it's pretty plausible. A few keynotes and features of this Lego model is going to be, well, it's built on a standard 32 by 32 base plate, just like we've seen in other modulars past. Now, it was a pretty exciting build, and part of that reason why was simply because it's built on a weird and different, unique angle. We really haven't seen a Lego modular with an alleyway or built at a 45-degree angle since probably Corner Garage, if I'm not mistaken. But even that building was very different in comparison to this one, because it's got two buildings at a nice angle and just an overall just unique building experience. But as we remove floors like we have seen in other modulars, which is probably nothing new if you're watching today's video, you'll notice the details inside this one. There's a few that I want to call out that I really enjoyed. Again, going back to that rat talk early on in, there was a ton of talk about it with plumbing lines, and we have a leak down here, and it has that little removable section there, which is pretty accessible in the alley, that has caused a leak. But luckily for the Brickley store owner, as well as the furniture shop, there is no water entering their stores, which could be really frustrating. Another key call out is you'll see a lot of different printed tiles, right? Like Brickley's logo here, the furniture store, Big Sale, which is probably one of my favorite Lego pieces of all time, as I'm a Lego Deals channel. That's pretty awesome. But this set has entirety of printed pieces. There's no stickers. And I think, whether this set gets a buff in price, I think that is kind of a win to get as an adult collector, as I would say myself. But anyways, the building here is going to be sand green color. We have a unique brick-built staircase, something I really haven't seen a lot of. As we look inside, you can clearly see a lot of different instruments here at sale of Brickley's in front of that sand green building. On top of that, here in the furniture store, you got the double entry door, which I thought looks really good. There is a buggy, like somebody had just bought a chair. I do like that. And then there's a ton of different chair builds inside of here, which I thought offered a really unique building experience. To build 5 different chairs in 5 different ways and with different details was kind of fun. Like all Lego modular buildings, we get buildable floors, so you could literally remove the entire floor sections. And I think this one has a very unique and interesting blueprint, right? It's built in almost like a letter Z, right? So it's kind of different. And it was, you know, again, another cool building technique and like just different building experience, which I do like. It features a balcony here, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. We got some flags here in the front in blue, some window panes here with different greenery of flowers on the outside. Now, this building here on the right side is actually going to be our woodworker shop. You can see some notable builds in there. Like we got a brick built Lego duck. That's pretty cool. We got different building chairs going on. So again, the woodworker is obviously contributing to the furniture shop below, building chairs and then other items to potentially sell. So pretty cut and dry there. And then there is an access way over the alley, which I thought was really cool, which connects this piece here and makes it all kind of one room and one together. This room I feel like is a little bit more bland and boring. There's like a note here for the music store, right? Like as you're writing your instrument, maybe working on your new song, you know, you're working there. And then of course on the backside wall is a ton of different instruments for drums and other instruments that I probably can't pronounce. But then you do have a door here that allows you access to the staircase, which again is all, again, a brick building technique, not just a normal staircase, similar to what we like would have seen in previous modulars in the past. So yeah, kind of offering just something different. And as I mentioned before, these Lego modular buildings are really cool because these floors literally just stack up on top, and it makes it such a nice, like, final product, which kind of takes us into one of our next floors because this building is surprisingly pretty tall. So our next floor here is a little bit different. It's just a single floor on the Brickley's section. So it's not going to be connected to the other side. Instead, we're going to get like a walkout terrace, which you'll see in a little bit. And that's why we have a door there. And again, the color scheme is white over sand green, similar to what I would say like a brick bank top section, which I can show this as a side-by-side in the end of today's video. Now, this one also has a nice little unique bathroom. It's super tiny and super cute. It's got hot and cold water. You can clearly see there for your sink, a toilet and some toilet paper. So pretty small, nothing crazy there. And then we also have a rug, a like radio, which kind of references an old Lego set, a brick built chair, a bed, and then of course some books and maybe a plant inside there. And like I said, for other modular buildings, this just stacks up quite nicely and is a nice little way to add on in there. Now there is one floor that goes above that, but it's not really a floor, it's just a roof. Here's the bottom of it, kind of bland and ugly, but still a unique building experience to get all of these angles and something I kind of enjoyed. Now, I will say, we'll talk about some of the things I didn't like in the set later in today's video, but some would be like just all the tiny pieces that are included in it. I know it adds a lot of detail, but I'm someone that kind of generally likes the bigger brick elements to build my sets. But let's go ahead and add that to give it a final look there on the one side before we go to the right side here, which is the walkout terrace from our apartment building. So on that section here, we have a really, really small roof. I wouldn't even call this a floor. I would just literally call this a roof, please. But it is a terrace, right? It features our pipes here and our water, you know, our plumbing line, which is kind of cool. And they're filling up their pot there to fill with water. And they clearly have like a botanical section here and gardening outside, right outside their birdhouse. And the birdhouse, like I said earlier, is a really cool build. So as we go ahead and add that to the build, this set really comes to life, and that would be the entirety of it. My opinion on this set is a little bit different than maybe what some others might think, but this set comes with 3,456 pieces, and that is a lot of Lego parts. But at the end of the day, is this a bigger Lego modular than some of the ones you may see in the back, right? Police station or the pet shops or the Tudor corner, right? And the answer is no, right? It's still on a 32 by 32 base plate. It has the equivalent amount of floors. We are literally moving and transitioning into Lego sets being more detailed, right? Having higher levels of details with like all these little smaller pieces and different elements, and continuing to be the same size, if not smaller. But as we roll into the next section of today's video, comparing this modular to previous ones on the market, let me know in the comments below, which is your favorite Lego modular of all time and why? I feel like that's pretty interesting. I think everyone has a different answer, so I'm kind of curious. But here we have our new shopping street next to Corner Garage, and honestly, I really like the way this looks. I feel like the angles really accent these very well, and having a 45-degree angle building next to the other one, I don't know, I feel like it does it justice quite a bit rather than the square buildings. And here is a brick bank on the corner, and this is a shorter Lego modular building, so I feel like those kind of combine each other, and for the most part is a really good combination. Our next combination is the Grand Emporium with our new shopping street, and then also my favorite LEGO modular of all time, the Town Hall. Now, I will say I feel like this looks a little bit silly, and coming from a set, if I'm not mistaken, was in 2009, this set absolutely towers over the shopping street here in modern day. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's really hard to put a building like this one compared next to the town hall, just given the size parameters. Now, even with the Grand Emporium, once we go ahead and flip the orientation of these sets, I feel like the town hall looks all right next to the shopping street. I still don't think it looks good. Like, I almost feel like you have to have a building that is smaller or equivalent size here on the right side. And also keep in mind, I feel like this is a good demonstration on how modular buildings have gotten smaller over the years, because if we look at this building, granted, it does have a small walkway going up. This is still 1, 2, 3 floors technically with a terrace, right? And here, if we bring in the shopping street, we have 1, 2, 3 floors. However, it's quickly able to see that these 3 floors, even at the top floor, goes all the way to the top of the terrace of the shopping street. So what happened? Well, these floors are literally just taller in height, and it really just doesn't look that good if you compare these two modulars. Now, here we also have in modern day, normally in previous years, we've seen LEGO modular buildings be fold out, right? So have all 3 floors across the entire section. Here in modern day, over the last like 3 to 5 years, we've seen some buildings have 2 different buildings, right? And one being 3 floors and the other one being 2. And it does put us in a different predicament to kind of stack these next to each other and make them look good. And my final orientation and demonstration is going to be some modern modulars here in the last 3 to 5 years. We have the 2024 LEGO modular here, the Tudor corner. This one features a very nice comparison, and I feel like these 2 buildings really accent themselves quite nicely. And then clearly on the right side, we have the boutique hotel that features the art gallery in a smaller section here. And again, I feel like this even being smaller and having an alleyway, I feel like for the most part doesn't look that good. Like, I'm not satisfied on how this looks. So for me, this to go next to it in a LEGO city or on a shelf, I feel like would not do it justice. But as we get through the final details of this build, I thoroughly enjoyed the build. However, I feel like my biggest arguments and constraints is I feel like we're entering a serious issue with LEGO adult sets, and partially it's because of, well, sets like this getting smaller and smaller pieces and truly smallering down the scale, if that makes any sense. But at the end of the day, it is a LEGO modular building, and believe it or not, that's what got me into building LEGO many years ago. And it's still a set I really, really enjoyed, and one that I would buy regardless. So with that being said, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. A big thank you to LEGO Group for gifting this copy over, but I'll definitely buy another copy because I kind of want to build this one inverted and see how it looks from the other side. But let me know in the comments if you're going to pick this one up. I'm also curious to see what your favorite modular is. And as always, hit that subscribe button and like today's video if you want to see more 2026 LEGO reviews. As always, we'll see you in the next one.